We now turn to the main topic of this lesson, the use of nested queries, also known as subqueries, to tackle some of the more complex / intermediate level SQL problems. The first type of subqueries, or nested queries, we'd consider are sometimes referred to as type 1 nested queries. The subquery or inner query, the one that's nested within the main one, does not reference any tables used in the outer or main query. Because of this independence, the inner query is executed only once, and the resulting record set used in the outer query. So we'll switch to MySQL7_02 underscore subqueries 1.sql file right here, and review the partially completed query at the top. The second condition in the where clause, which we are going to implement here, will identify all the employee IDs from the orders table that belong to a set or a list of Minnesota employee IDs using in keyword. But first, let's create a simple subquery that selects MN or Minnesota employee IDs from the employee table, run it, and observe the set or list of two employee IDs, 44 and 47. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll go down here a little bit, and then we'll select employee ID from employee where employee, my indentations are not working really, where employee dot state is MN. Okay, so that's going to be the subquery. All right, so let me quickly select it, save copy, switch to Toad, run from employee table, not employee ID, and you'll see 44 and 87. So that's the list of the employee IDs from the employees that reside in the state of Minnesota. Okay, let me fix that query here. Okay, so now we're going to back here and I'm going to do a completion of this where clause by adding and orders dot employee ID in a set, a list generated by this query. So we're going to sort of stick in this query literally within this parenthesis here and make it become a nested query, right? So as you can see, this inner query, right, this guy here, is does not use any tables from the main or the outer query. Okay, that one uses customer and orders. This one uses employee tables. Okay, so this means that the subquery, this guy here, is going to be executed only once, exactly as we did it separately just a second ago. And this is going to create a list of two employee IDs, 44 and 87. And then the outer query is going to be used to produce the list of 17 customers, some of them appearing more than once in their orders. Okay, so let's test that by switching back to Toad, pasting that, and running it. Okay, 17 queries. Some of these customers appear more than once, but they have, they're associated with different orders, obviously. Okay. So the type 1 subquery, as you can kind of see from this example, sort of acts as a procedure that is called by the outer query or the main program in the programming lingo. Of course, the same result would have been obtained by extending the existing join, this guy here, okay, to employee table and then using state column to find all MN or Minnesota employees. In this relatively simple example, with few nested queries, this approach is computationally more efficient than coming up with multiple joins. As the complexity of nested queries increases, however, the code readability as well as execution will suffer. So let's save this at this point. Okay, so the next example will demonstrate the multi-level nesting query by listing customers age 30 or over, right here, listing customers, right, H30 of or, okay, that ordered 5 or more quantities of hockey gear products. Here, the innermost query, or subquery, I should say, creates a list of all IDs for hockey gear product group. Going back up one level, a list of order IDs is then created from order detail table where line items have 5 or more units and product IDs, okay, that are in the list generated by the subquery at the lower level, the one I discussed first. And finally, the main query or outer query is then connected to the 2 lower level subqueries to complete the process. Notice that none of the subqueries use any tables at a higher level, confirming that these are indeed type 1 nested queries. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is, because these are independent, the simple way to start it is to create a list or set of product IDs for hockey gear product group. So we're going to simply select, okay, product ID from product, okay, where prod group is, in single quotes, hockey gear. Okay, so we're going to select that, run it. Okay, I'm going to clean this up, start a new editor, and see the 5 product IDs from the hockey group: 135, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So it's easy to sort of remember. Okay, then the next query, one up, okay, is going to be generating the order IDs from the order detail table where the line item has a quantity of greater than 5 or 5 or greater, I should say, and the product ID from this group here, from this list. Okay, so we're going to go up. We're going to space these up a couple of blank rows, and we're going to select order ID from order detail, okay, where quantity is greater than equal to 5, and, okay, I guess I'm going to put and in the next line, and order detail dot product ID. So this product ID on the line item, right, order detail, is in, okay, the list generated, right, by this query 1 level below. So open parenthesis, close parenthesis. The nestings here are less than ideal. Doesn't really matter. So let's test this, right? So this is 2 subqueries. Saves, copy, paste, and run. Okay, you're going to get 17 records. I might get 16 depending. I have this 2000 that was added in some of the previous videos. I can't remember which one. I also want to apologize. I'm recording this sick, so the coughing is unavoidable. So I'm sipping of the water. Okay, finally, we're going to then plug these 2 subqueries into the main query that is mostly completed. Okay, except for the part where the order IDs from order stable are in. Okay, now the list generated by, okay, I'm going to do the parentheses like this. Okay, save that, select, copy, paste, and run. We're going to get 3 customers fitting this criteria: John Brown, John Seaborn, and Tim O'Keefe. Now, we'll copy paste briefly and quickly the already completed query third from the top here that replicates the problem in multiple inner joins, as you can kind of tell here, the standard way we've been doing this, to verify that we get the same answer, right? So we'll run that one. We'll get the same 3 guys in slightly different order: John Brown, John Seaborn, and Tim O'Keefe. Okay, next. One of the intermediate class of SQL problems involves the so-called difference operations. Here, the problem statement has the word not, N-O-T, relating two nouns in a sentence. For example, find all employees who are not customers is one such example. If you recall the employee temp table, employee ID 406 was essentially copied from the customer table, with the remaining 97 being just employees. We can use type 1 subquery to select all the customer IDs first, i.e. create a list of all customers, and then the outer query uses not and in operators to exclude the employees that are also customers, one in our case. Okay, so we'll start by simply creating a query to select all customer IDs from customer table. Okay, that's a simple one right here. Okay, select customer ID from customer table, right? Okay, that obviously doesn't need to be run. That's going to select 322 customer IDs, from 1 to 406 or whatever. 322 records in all. Okay, then we'll complete the where clause by simply saying, using the not it operator, okay, in our employee ID, where employee ID not in the list generated by the subquery. Again, you can see that they're using different tables, so this is indeed type 1 subquery. Okay, so the only ID generated here, okay, that is in the employee temp table is a 406. All the other ones, all the other 97 employees are not in this list and will therefore show up as a result of this query, right? So that's the sort of simplest difference operation. Did not copy the parentheses. 97 if you look at the bottom right corner. Okay, so at this point I'm going to switch back to presentation and pause.